Hello, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Beautiful, beautiful pull, Pisces, and I always love when joy shows up for you guys. So from Lay Vampire, religion, canon, rules, and commandments, and then from Chakra Wisdom, joy. Now, when you're looking at religion, this is asking you to learn more of the world's religions and begin to understand what has influenced your own life and possibly taking on, different faiths here. But when I look at joy, it's almost like your beliefs have changed. And that is what's creating now this joy in your life. Religion is one of those things where, right, like I've always said, there is no one true religion, but there is for the individual. We can't stand in judgment of the beliefs of others. We will always find facts to support our own beliefs. But the thing is that the truly open mind will look at all religions and take a little bit of everything, right? Take with you what resonates and leave the rest behind. Be open to changing your beliefs, because if it's going to create joy in your life, that's perfect. Now, joy, though, too, with your beliefs changing, it's like the Fool. It's taking a leap into something and you may not know what's going to happen, but it says you will land on your feet, which is perfect, right? But this is about enjoying a new phase in your life where there are significant changes, but for you, it's going to be based around what you believe to be true. All right, Pisces. Here is your overall for the week. The sun. And then you have joy. It's perfect. This one has been showing up a lot as far as ego goes, but I don't think that that's it for you. I really do think that this is about, getting back to a place where you feel new. But then also, seeing everything really for what it is now, but it's a good thing, right? Oh boy. All right. So in the past, the Lovers, and when it comes to the Lovers, it could definitely be about a significant relationship from the past that's coming back through. And it could just be about, major life choices that you're making now. But with the sun being there, you see it now. You see, the difference between following temptation and doing what you know is going to be good for you, right? But with the Lovers, definitely could be a significant relationship coming through. Yuck. In the present, you see everything clearly, but your thoughts are not in a very good spot. Who else had this? I think Virgo did for their signifier. Ugh. The Nine of Swords. Regret, despair, your thoughts running away with you, being stuck in the nightmare, torturing yourself, self-sabotage here. There's a lot of fear and anxiety surrounding what you're seeing now when it comes to a relationship. Are there some things that are, making you think that you may have taken the wrong action? Because I look back at the Three of Wands and I felt like, don't hesitate, don't wait, don't wait to see how things are going to work out. You need to continue acting if you want to get to that Four, right? And see stability. But for some reason, I think that some of you may be regretting not doing something or doing something, because I see the regret of actions with this. But then way, way overthinking things too, though. Oh boy. All right. Future conditions. One of the things that I will say about the Nine of Swords that is in some cases, right, there are times where I feel like this has been put on you because of somebody else. Now, if we're talking about a significant relationship and you being in this place of mental torture, it could be because somebody else has control. But with the Sun, again, you're seeing everything for what it is. When I look at the Emperor, immediately I question who has control. If you're stuck in this thinking here with the Nine of Swords, it certainly isn't you. But do you get there? And the other thing is you have Aries, and we could be talking about a person who is stubborn, which I see that more with the Emperor than I do with the Hierophant. This to me is somebody being set in their ways of thinking, which could possibly be you. But again, who has control here? And if you're seeing everything clearly, then why is there regret over, whether or not, the right action was taken here in regards to, major decisions or a major relationship? And, again, I go back to this and think, do you get control over this? Or are you allowing somebody else to have control over the way that you're thinking? Oh boy. All right. Your best path to follow, the King of Swords. And then that's just basically you needing to see logic and reason and needing to think clearly, and listen, right? I feel like listen, like you need to listen, especially if somebody is trying to help you see that, those thoughts are not accurate. But I don't know, I look at that King of Swords, and as far as your advice goes, this is definitely about needing to see things from a logical place, but you have the sun there. So, like, no matter what, everything is going to be made clear, and I don't feel like power struggle or ego here. I don't. I feel like there is regret because there no longer is control on your part. In your environment, the Hermit. So if we're talking about regretting and not taking action here with the Hermit, that may be why, right? Staying in the Hermit mode. But I look at this and I think, though, too, that, this is about looking back at what you've experienced. You're getting to the end here with the Nines. It's about ready to complete itself out. But really, why did you do this in the first place? I always think of the Hermit as him looking back on, I did all of this, I worked on all of this, and here is what I'm looking at now. Is it what I originally wanted? Was it what I hoped for in the first place? Again, because the star is what's in the lantern, technically. Even though we've just got like sparks of electricity happening with this one, but I still like this Hermit. But what have you learned, right? Through everything that you've experienced. But those thoughts are like keeping you in isolation. I don't think this is about needing solitude. I think you're in total isolation with your thoughts right now. And like I said, with the Lovers, it's one or the other here. It's about your major choices or a major relationship. And like playing things out in your mind, like the coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? Wow. All right, your hopes and your fears, the Queen of Swords. Now, definitely this could be about another person here. And of course you have air going on between the King and the Queen. But your hopes and fears are surrounding a person. But the energy that you're taking on because of this is cold. Cold and shut off, where you need to be seeing things, clearly here. It's like instead you're only seeing, the nightmare thoughts and, just becoming completely shut off. But then also it's about hoping to be able to get control back, and feeling like you have better control over, what you're thinking, what you have done, right? Especially if you're regretting whether or not to take action or action that you may have taken. Because I still see you looking back on it and like just torturing yourself with thinking about it. But we could definitely be talking about you dealing with a person, though, too, who may be cold and shut off to you, which is possible. And then coming out, wow, the King of Wands, man, oh man. So yeah, for some of you, you have air and you have fire, and I do see the King of Wands as Sag, but you got Aries connected directly to that. Now with the King of Wands coming out on this, this could definitely be, the person here who you may feel like has control. But, even though you're in a place of like mental torture here, it's like you're trying to see the light here with the Hermit, definitely. And with the Sun being the overall, you do. So this could be about, seeing this person for who they really are. Or, this is about, you needing to be in better control of your own passion, right? The King of Wands, for me, I kind of question follow through a little bit here. But wow, with the male energy, I I mean, the one counterpart is just about as brutal as the men. Looking at the Queen of Swords here, you know, I look at this and I think that if you allow somebody else to have control, they are going to affect your overall stability and security. Because ultimately, this is where you're wanting to be, right? Stable and secure. Looking at the Four of Swords, especially with the Lovers and then the King of Wands, this could definitely be, you know, about somebody who is cutting off communication, you know, taking a break. Obviously, you know, needing to think clearly here, but I don't think that that's it. I think that this is more of like non-action, the non-action here, the non-involvement of you and another person. Like, it's just not happening. There is a complete cutoff in communication and a break. And it leads to disappointment, upset, you know, being hurt emotionally here, being wrapped up in your thoughts surrounding this, trying to look at everything here, but then keeping yourself in isolation and locked with these types of thoughts. But then with the Ten of Pentacles, the only way that you're going to have security and stability is if you stop allowing the other person to have control. I mean, and that's pretty much what it comes down to here. You know, and I look at the King of Wands and think, you know, for some of you, this may be difficult because there may be an attraction. Like, whenever I see him, the Queen of Wands to me is more about self-image. He is about, you know, the man of passion, the having, you know, an attraction to somebody, right? But if you're seeing everything for what it is now, then, you know, it's really about seeing this person for who they are and taking back that control over the way that you think, the way that you allow them to affect you. But I worry that some of you are just in all-out isolation right now, you know, and disappointed at the fact that there was like this cutoff, you know, because I just see no communication, a complete like break off here. And then being upset, not seeing the Two Cups, but then needing to get to a place where, you know, there is security for you and stability, where you feel like you have better control over, you know, what this person allows you to think, right? Because that may be how you're looking at this right now. And then inspiration. Only by breaking free will you find new inspiration and not be locked in, you know, the nightmare way of thinking here. But clarity, right? Seeing the truth, you know, seeing this person for what they really are, seeing the whole situation clearly, you know, but needing to break free from this in order to get new inspiration, you know, especially with the way that you're thinking. You know, it's not bad, but I look at it and I think, man, break free, right? Like, nobody ever wants to be put in a situation where they feel like they need to break out of something. Now, you know, I look back at religion and think if your beliefs are changing, whether we're talking about religion or not, once they change, you know, it opens up into you being able to feel and experience joy, you know, but your beliefs surrounding this has to change. And then do something for someone else. Give your attention to someone else. Okay. So clearly here, there's a need for you to, you know, realize that you can make any choice and do whatever the hell it is that you want here. But you need to stop focusing in on this person. You have to choose to give your attention to someone else so they can no longer have control. And, you know, you don't have to be in isolation with these horrible thoughts, right? I mean, there definitely is a chance here for things to be brought out in a way where you have to face it, but it's not like judgment, though. It's just that you need to see the reality of it, you know? But I do worry, though, with the Ten of Pentacles that for some of you, you know, this person may have disrupted your security and stability, but then I also worry about, you know, you finding a level of security here with the disappointment. Looking at the Ten of Pentacles coming out. But right, the minute that you get control, though, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. You can get back to a place of feeling secure. and having absolute security here. But you have to see this person. You have to see this person the way that you're thinking about it and see it for what it really is. All right, Pisces. So, looking back at the Lovers and looking at the Hermit, just the way that it lines down, this is like seeing the reality of the choices that you may have made in the past. And going back with the Hermit and, looking at it and looking, why did I do this in the first place? And then with the Nine of Swords being connected to that, it's like, I worry that some of you are trapped in your own, isolation here, nightmare thinking, and just, between the two of them, right? Definitely there's a need here with the Hermit to do more deeper soul searching on why you may have made the choices that you have before. Whether, it's just general life choices here or about a major relationship. But the thing is I'm looking at these two and a need for you to see clearly what the situation is and, stop giving up control. Stop giving up control to somebody else, right? Because it's not real, though, and that's the thing. That's the reality of this, right? They don't actually have control. You're allowing them to right now, and that's why you're thinking the way that you are. And then I look at these two and think you're definitely dealing with somebody who may be cold and shut off emotionally. But it's about you needing to see things logically and clearly, right? Definitely needing clarity on this. But then if your hopes and fears are surrounding somebody, it's whether or not, you can cut them out. But then it's also, the hopes and fears surrounding, dealing with somebody who just is not responsive to you. Now, coming out of this, though, looking at the Four of Swords and the Five of Cups, I do think that, there is disappointment over the fact that there is a definite break here, a cutoff in communication, a total split up here between you and somebody else, which is possible with the Lovers as the past. But it's inaction. It's not taking action when you should be, though. Don't wait anymore to see how things are going to work out. Do what you need to do, right? But with the Five of Cups, it's no wonder why you're looking at the Hermit and the Nine of Swords. If there's been disappointment and hurt and, this regret over action and decisions that you may have made in regards to dealing with a person, and it could possibly be family, though, too, with the Ten of Pentacles. But I feel like more so it's about you needing to take back that control here and getting back to a place of stability. I don't think it's about finances or, needing to have something to show in the long run here. I think it's about total security for you and needing to get there. But it's not going to be through this person. With the Five of Cups being there, they're going to disrupt what security and stability you have. And you cannot find stability in the disappointment because you'll just stay stuck there in that isolation. But I do feel the weight of the choices that have been made, with somebody significant that you're dealing with here, and whatever regrets that you have, with the Sun being there, like I said, in the King of Swords, it's seeing everything clearly now and understanding and the full weight of it, being there. But it's not a burden. It's supposed to be something that is going to release you, and make you feel better once you realize that you have control. Now, again, your beliefs are changing, but it's going to lead to a more joyous phase in your life where you get to be that conduit for joy, but your beliefs around the situation need to change. I think that's why religion is showing up. Clarity, break free, and inspiration. The only way that you are going to get new inspiration is if you see the clarity of the situation and break free. But break free is tough because nobody wants to be put in that position. But this one blows me away. You are limitless and do something for someone else. Pay attention to someone else rather than the person that is keeping you locked in these negative ways of thinking, right? You can choose to do whatever the hell it is you want to do. And absolutely, you have the ability here to break free and give your attention to somebody else, but this person no longer deserves it. Not with that showing up. I'm I'm just saying, right? Don't let regret, fear, and anxiety stop you from enjoying your life. Don't stay in isolation. Don't stay with thoughts of regret and anxiety. Don't do that, right? And if you're dealing with somebody who's emotionally shut off, then it's time to stop. It's time to stop trying to, make something happen here, because I also feel like that too. But that's only because we're looking at the King of Wands, which to me suggests that there's still an attraction. You need to take back control here. Oh, Pisces, this one is like, it's heavy. It's really heavy. And like I said, with the Lovers, it's the weight of your choices, but it's also about, major relationships, possibly from the past, right? But you have the ability to change this and see it now for what it really truly is.